Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Have you guys ever wondered what life is like for the person that teaches you tennis? Stay tuned. All right, guys, have you ever wondered what it's like to be a teaching pro? I got my man Coach Gu here today, who's been a teaching pro for what, year and a half, 2 years now?
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
And then my man Coach Chris here, who's been a teaching pro for many years in many facets. So, and still going on tour. So we're going to start with the pros of being a teaching pro. So we're going to do pros and cons. I'm going to start with Coach Gu here. Coach Gu, what are the benefits and what do you love most about teaching people?
For me, the biggest thing as a teaching pro is to watch someone grow and learn a new skill that they haven't achieved. It's just rewarding for me as a coach to see the excitement and kind of their emotions when they go through something that they haven't done and they make a breakthrough. And just to be a part of that itself is why I love what I do. It's watching that person just react to their own breakthrough and you just enjoying that moment with them as well.
So it's like you're a parent and you see your kid walk for the first time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Coach Chris, what do you think?
So I think that I never really see myself to this day as a coach. I see myself more as a player. I've had the experience of playing on tour and playing with a lot of other pros too as well, and being around such a great environment of coaches and players. One thing that's pretty rewarding is that stuff that works for me as a player. I see that being able to translate and convey that to the people who've been taking lessons from me or people who've been around me, and I've seen that work for them.
So what Coach Chris is saying is, have you guys ever had bad teachers? I'm sure you have, right? Bad teachers don't really know how to teach. So what Coach Chris is saying, that if he sees you and you grasp what he's trying to teach you, then he's done his job. Because just because you're the best in your field doesn't mean you know how to teach it to somebody else. Let's talk about the daily grind here. I mean, you guys put in sometimes 12-hour days. I see Coach Gu here at 7 in the morning. Sometimes he doesn't leave until 8 at night, 9 at night. So that's 12 hours. Maybe you can squeeze in some lunch in there somewhere. Coach Chris the same way. How is that doing it? So you do it 5 to 6 days a week, 7 days a week sometimes. What is that like?
At the first week for me, I can manage, and then the second week, third week, it takes a bit of a toll for sure. Since I did it before, where I worked 7 days a week throughout maybe a 3-month period straight, and yeah, it's really tough. It's not easy for sure. It's just like your mind and your body starts to tell you, like, hey, you kind of need to take a step back and kind of breathe, reset, and then kind of provide the same quality every single time I kind of teach a client. So it is tough. It is not easy.
Yeah,
you just gotta love it.
Yeah, you're standing around, hitting lessons are really tough because that takes a lot out of you. Feeding lessons are a little easier, but not every lesson
It's the same.
is a ball machine lesson. You know what I mean? So
Unless you're from Spain.
right. So speaking of Spain, what's your take on this?
I think that the hours can be rigorous. It's really physical for sure. It's important to eat too as well, to make sure you have time to rest in between sessions. Some days you it's definitely a grind, but there's some days that it's definitely rewarding too as well.
Okay. So let's talk about the benefits of coaching, aside from just the proud papa aspect of it, or the seeing the person grasp it for the first time. Obviously, you guys do pretty well, right? Monetarily, right? It's you guys know how much you guys pay for lessons, but I mean, do you think what you do is worth what you get?
In my opinion, yeah. For me, I don't really consider to see money as an art. Like, for me, like, I'm not in the business because of money, really. It's because I enjoy what I do, and I love what I do. For me, it's, like I said before, my philosophy is to always give back to something that impacted me in a big way. And I don't see, tennis as a money-making thing. I see it as a place where I can give back and kind of hopefully grow the sport more. It's just something rewarding to me, and I don't really see money as a factor in this.
Coach Chris?
When you go into tennis, the monetary means are not as important as the travel, the environment that you're in terms of tournaments, the meeting new players, being able to help them with their tennis too as well. All that is kind of the reward for being a teaching pro.
So, Coach Gu was talking about obviously the club environment, park environment. Coach Chris, a little bit more of the club into like personal coaching, right? Is that what you're talking about in terms of traveling?
I had the fortune of being, some travel coaching out of the States. So playing in tournaments, junior ITF tournaments, stuff like that.
So he's talking about like a high performance, high profile junior that we take to Easter Bowl or somewhere overseas, like the Soto Academy or something like that. So it's a little more hand holding, a little more high profile coaching. So let's tackle cons. What are some of the bad parts of coaching there, Coach?
Long hours do get you. It's very tedious. It's like when you guys, when the clients walk in, they don't realize how long you've been on court. It's like, all right, he looks like he's fine.
You're standing up, aren't you?
Standing up. So for usually those 12-hour days, I don't even get a chance to sit down unless I'm doing a hitting lesson. That's when I get my actual sit down break. When I'm coaching, I'm pretty much standing for 12 plus hours, and then I got to go home and kind of stretch or do yoga to get it out of my system. So it's tough. That's really much for me. The grueling part of it is just being such a physical job.
Right. So in the past, I want to say a year and a half since COVID, tennis is up 40%. You guys see it. Coaching, teaching, giving lessons is up a crap load too. So if you're a tennis pro, you're not making money, there's something wrong with you. Okay? So, because these guys' schedules are always packed, and it's literally hour to hour, on the hour. Next person, next, teaching. So
I don't think I gave myself a break, really.
Yeah, so the demand way superseded the supply in the last year and a half. So, Coach Chris, cons?
Physical, that's definitely what it is. I think the biggest thing is just however many hours you can spend on court. It's not for everyone to just do straight 8-10 hours on the court or even more.
We don't even recommend that.
That's definitely not recommended for sure.
But I did it before.
Yeah, tough. So make sure that you find a way to space out and get some breaks in. Get some breaks to eat. You can use the bathroom. All that stuff is really important. And other cons too as well is that make sure you wear comfortable shoes. I think standing a
that's
lot
a-
too
that's
as
a good
well. Tough on the feet. Your sock tan isn't getting any better. Use some sun cream. Need a nice bucket hat too when you're out there. I think we're just listing a lot of the physicality of it. There isn't one certain way to coach them. Everyone's got a different way to kind of take in info. So it's not really a con, but it's more like a challenge to see what they take to the most. Do they take more into the strategy of the game, the technical aspects of the game, stuff like that, to kind of keep them engaged and find ways to get through to them so they can make them a better tennis player.
Coach Chris is talking about what would benefit that individual person. What makes you happy? How do you learn? It personalizes it for you instead of just hitting a bunch of forehands, serves, and then call it a day. Yeah, that's called daycare, people. Okay, adult daycare, expensive adult daycare. These guys didn't talk about that parent that says, "My kid's going pro," or "I want a scholarship for my kid." How do we tackle that? Because that's definitely not a pro. Coach Good.
That's something. If the parents kind of want something for their kid, I don't think it's the right approach. I've seen that way too many times, and honestly, it kind of kills a kid's motivation to get better, because it's like the parents want it more than the kid, and you're looking at the parent really, he should be wanting it, not you, or you should have such a high expectation for these kids yet, because they're just getting their feet wet, right? So there's no point of trying to pressure it unless the kid wants to. If the kid wants to, then yeah, we take that to consideration. I feel like when the parents are trying to want it more than the kid, and you can tell it's just a very toxic kind of culture that we're getting used to now, and it's something that I don't approve. I've seen that a little too much of coaching. That's why, for me as a player or as a coach, I just try to get to know my player as much as I can within that lesson, and find out ways to make him engage. That's the point of it.
It's always tough when the parents get involved. I think that
Dragon Mom.
Tiger Mom,
Dragon Mom, whatever.
Dragon Mom.
Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, mom or dad, whoever. I think it's difficult, being able to manage parents and the player too as well. It's best that communication is established in all parties. It's not just the parents. It's also making sure that the player understands too as well the path, if they're gonna go pro, or the path if they want to go to play college tennis. It's important that everyone kind of sits down and chats about that. I've seen it definitely not managed well. I've seen it managed well too. It's always having to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
So, is it your kid that wants to be pro, or is it you that wants your kid to be pro? These guys are not only coaches, they're counselors, and then they're doctors of tennis, because they have to figure out the problem if there is one, and diagnose it, and then their job from then on is to fix it and make the student better, cure better, like a doctor. Any final words, Coach Koo?
I mean, if you guys are considering to be, let's say, if you're a tennis player and then you're considering this route, I think you just have fun with it. I think the biggest thing is, I think I speak for Coach Chris and I, that we love the sport so much that giving back is our way of showing our appreciation to what's given us. I know for me, it gave me a platform first to express who I was as a player. I was a very shy kid, very introverted, and tennis was my kind of like gateway to express who I was. So in a way, it got me to college. I went to a D1 school, very, very lucky, and kind of working the line where I still get to play tennis and coach as many people as I can just to get them better, just to see their faces lighten up after they achieve something. So if you're looking into it, you should definitely give it a shot. We're like teachers basically, like we're the role models for the next generation, so it's fun.
Coach Chris?
Making sure that you bring the energy to as well. Engagement, fun, right? It's all about trying to get them to bring out the best, to unlock their kind of potential when they're on the court, and to get them to have as much fun too as well. So
There's a lot of opportunities out there to be teaching pro. There's definitely a shortage of pros out there now because everybody's asking me if I know anybody. So, guys, teaching pro as a form of employment for you. If you guys love the game, give it a try, right? I mean, it's not hard. There's tests you can take. There's books you can read to formally learn how to do it. And to be is it a P1? It's not that hard. Just read a book. They'll teach you the basics of how to teach, and then you kind of spin it your way of how to do it, the fun way that you would do it yourself. All right? I want to thank Coach Andrew Gu for hanging out with me today. Where can we find you, Gu?
Find me at ag.tennis. I'll also be posting content there as well.
Coach Chris, where can we find you?
you can find me at Stevie Chien Tennis. I'll post likewise content there.
Thank you, Coach Chris. Thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.